Well, good afternoon. We're back in the segment, back in the studio once again with Lori and Stacey, and just thank the Lord for a new year, 2012, and we're doing well in 2012, and so we're going to get into our segment of Let the Truth Be Told, and I thank the Lord for my audience. I often run into people in stores that say they've seen our program, they enjoy listening to us conversation and convert and talk.
Sure. Audio difficulty here. I'm sorry. We're doing well in 2012, according to Brother Williams and his older brother Terry. He is visiting us from Atlanta. I'd like to thank Lori, our technical advisor, and all of our families we've served in the greater community in Champaign-Urbana, just to have the opportunity to have a vessel to be able to really share our platform with and try to help and contribute back to folks. Our title for this segment is The Streets Are Lined with Gold, and that's something that Brother Sean and I often kind of kick back and forth, just as we look at this area and look at just the vastness and just the possibility for expansion. There's some spiritual references as well as some relevant references to everyday life for the streets are lined with gold. In the Revelations 21:18, the Apostle John explained his vision and dream of heaven as the streets are lined with gold, and not physical manifestation of gold, but the spiritual manifestation of gold. More precisely, just experiencing the vision as being like a clear see-through glass and just very transparent and very clear, a lot of clarity and clearness. And we really look at Champaign-Urbana much that same way, and we really keep that in our daily bread and our daily focus and mission. And I'd like to kick that over to you, Brother Williams, and as usual, let you elaborate and go into your thing about that.
Well, I'm always running the rhetoric back to you, saying that as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you don't think that you can get nothing, or you don't think that a small town or a small community that we have can be a promised land for you, then you probably won't achieve the things that you really want to achieve in this area. But I always stay optimistic, and I'm always want to be an eager and hard worker, and be a light to other people, and encourage them that the streets are lined with gold, and you just got to be willing to go out there and get it. And I guess when we get everybody to kind of grasp around what we're trying to say with the streets being lined with gold, whatever your area is, whatever your area, we're in the funeral home business, we're in the insurance business, we're in the barbershop business, and the cosmetology.
And community
business. Community business.
Relationship business.
And definitely in the relationship business, because, relationships, that means a lot around here in this community. And being a good person, just being a good person, trying to do the right things and doing what's right and kind of seeing what's right, and people kind of connect to that.
Right. And dovetailing off on that, gold by definition, the physical manifestation is malleable, very precious in nature. Atom number 79, a precious metal. And right now gold is $1,600 an ounce and going higher. But we want to focus on not what you can see, touch, or smell, but your gold in heaven and your gold and just being a better person. And we want to have not only just have rhetoric, but we want to actually, take some action steps and kind of contribute on how to seek those riches and how to help your family and help those closely around you. One of them being that life is full of escapable paths, i.e. One door closes, another door opens, and I think that your career and your life has been kind of an example of that, starting in Atlanta as a young man with a family and transcending into the military and then into entrepreneurship, and kind of elaborate on that for us, Brother Williams.
Pastor Johnson over at Jericho Church this morning, he talked about having a midnight experience and having a darkness of experience in your life. And that happened to me in Atlanta, where I lost my job in Atlanta. and got kind of discouraged. It kind of broke my
corporate America.
Yeah.
We won't name the employer, but just how much, blood, sweat, and tears you put into that enterprise, and you were just a number at the end of the day.
Yeah, put a lot of effort into trying to make their corporation better, and always was an example, a great example when I represented that company. But because the company was going through a phase of they were restructuring what they were trying to do, they got rid of some employees, and I was part of that chopping block. But but they didn't care about my family at that time. I had a young family, my son was small, and my daughter was very young, and that ended up kind of breaking my family up, because when you're going through something, they say when it rains, it pours.
Yes, sir.
And so it started pouring, and then it started hailing.
Did you have your umbrella?
It didn't have an umbrella, it didn't have no boots. And but I thank the Lord for my mom being in Champaign, and I've talked to my brother about this here. My brother that's over here from Atlanta. I've talked to him about home base. My mom always created an environment where we had a home base to come back to, and coming back to home base and being able to regroup. Because you got to regroup when things are going wrong in your life, and you're going through your midnight experience. Then you got to regroup. And one of the things I won't forget what Pastor said. I love Pastor Johnson, and I love a lot of the other pastors out there, but I do love Pastor Johnson and his tutelage and his teaching, and the way he go about teaching it. And what he talked about today is that you got to pray. And when Paul and Silas was going through their thing, they had to pray. They started praying, and he said praying gonna lead to singing, because they prayed and sang until their doors were open for them. So you got to start some prayer, and really focusing in on what's going wrong in your life.
So let's talk about those escapable paths and the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that you had to get rid of out of that experience, that came out of that experience in Atlanta. So what were some of the things that you escaped to a better way of life, and how did you do that?
Well, first of all, you have to realize that you're in that midnight experience. You got to realize that hey, I don't like where I'm at right now.
Why me? I'm in the Lord.
It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
Thank you, brother.
It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. So then after you find out that, hey, look, I'm going through this thing, and I'm sick, I'm tired of being tired. And once you're tired of being tired, then you'll change your environment, you'll change your things. And what we say is people, places, and things. You change your people that you hang around with. You change the places. You change the places that you might go. You stop doing the things that might be negative in your life. And I remember when going out, and some people go out there and say, well, buy me a drink. Well, I always say, well, what is you in the club for? And you're asking somebody to buy you a drink for? You should be at home working on your
business plan.
Exactly.
I love that when you told me that. I've taken that with me right in my breast pocket.
Yeah.
That's just great advice.
You're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. And what it does for you, it starts to develop a spirit in you. And you don't want a negative spirit. You don't want to be a beggar spirit, waiting on somebody to do something for you. And what happened is that I had to go through my midnight experience through that corporate job, hurt me. And that was part of one of the hurts. But through that negative experience, I had to flip it into a positive experience. So I had to say, hey, look, what about me coming back to Champaign, and let's try to work on something else. So the Lord took me through a couple more little hoops and hurdles through things to start learning that, hey, I could be a barber.
Right.
That might be an option for me. I was doing it as a hobby, but then I took it on as a career. And then not just even stopping there. Hey, look, I still want to climb. I still want to achieve some more different things. And then you start trying some other things, because a lot of times we have not because we ask not. And we don't try to seek out the information. And it's a lot of wealth of information. We're in a great place in Champaign-Urbana, in a great University of Illinois, being right across the street from us. A lot of people that's over there. It's an educational environment. You can go over there and kind of tap into the resources over there. And then not even having that, we got Parkland. And then we got a lot of other community resources that's out there that we can tap into. A lot of times we go through our own thing by ourselves because we don't want to tap into nothing else.
Right. And so what I'm hearing from you is one escapable path led into another escapable path, exactly. A branch off of that tree. that led to something that you may have not even be able to foresee in your future because of the diligence that you started out with. That could, as an example, be how becoming a licensed cosmetologist led into becoming a funeral home owner in a property management firm.
Oh yeah, definitely that. And now we're going door to door selling insurance.
Sure, we love that.
And we love that. And one of the things about it, you know, I remember the old saints of God from AOH that used to always say, if you take one step, then God will take two. So when you get when you get tired of being tired, you take one step, then allow the Lord to come on in and help you make a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth step. Right. And then, man, look how you'll look up and things will be changed all around you.
Sure.
You won't have that negative experience.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, the streets are lined with gold. You'll have that vision and that clarity and that clearness of that clear glass.
You know, you'll be able to see more clearly. You know, and one of the things I learned over at Jericho is when the blind man, the Lord had to take the blind man out the city for him to get healed. And so once you can get out of your situation to kind of see it from a different perspective, then you'll be saying, dang, if I knew then what I know now, man, I would have never been there. Because a lot of times we're going into situations blinded, we're going into situations hurt, then we're hurting other people through our negative situation because we're hurt.
Sure. And you know, to dovetail on that, Brother Williams, you know, with the tough economy and recessionary environment and things getting tougher, a lot of that rhetoric and propaganda, but like my granddaddy, who's deceased, often told us, despite the tough times, a man's got to eat. So with that being said, even with being a recidivist or a felon or being on a parole or felony conviction, let's just talk about some ways to line your life with gold, even facing those tough times, and how to fish on your own. What are some action steps on just how to get the ball rolling?
You know, we always grew up off the principles, and the Bible speaks about this, if a man won't work, he'll steal. So, you know, and to keep you from doing that, keep you from stealing, is that you're willing to put some work in. You're working an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. And even when you have those stigmas on you or those midnight experiences on you as of a felony, it's a lot of more opportunities out there. And even when people don't want to give you the benefit of the doubt, you know, a lot of things you have to change on your own. You have to change your attitude, change your appearance, you know, change the way you're looking at a situation, change the way you talk.
Yes.
You know, change your whole walk, and then people will see that, and they might give you an opportunity on a job. But if they don't give you an opportunity on the job, you still keep moving forward, and then you say, well, okay, well, let me create my own job.
Yeah, just like with Dante over at the Ready program, and kind of elaborate just on the Ready program, which is doing a great job over there for our youth, and also, you know, how that coincided with you owning the Whip Barbershop, hair design over on 904 North 4th Street, and how you've been able to work as kind of facilitate with that Ready program to kind of encourage young men to become better groomed and kind of project themselves higher and work on their appearance, which ultimately leads to confidence building, would you say?
Well, I'll see where you're going on that, and getting that cosmetologist look, you getting that shave, getting that haircut, getting that appearance together always helps out with that first impression.
And that self-esteem.
And that building up your confidence, and that first impression is the lasting impression. You know, if you kind of act the way you feel and the way you look.
Sure.
You know, and so if you look kind of sluggish, I could probably say that this is a sluggish looking guy,
sure.
And you're not going to be a good investment for my company.
Right.
But if you're looking the part, you're talking the part, you've had a life-changing moment experience where you have changed, and I can kind of see the change in you. You know, a lot of times when you're happy, you look happy. You know, and other people want to be around happy people.
Yeah, that's contagious.
Yeah, and, you know, and so you're smiling, and we can kind of see that little light kind of illuminating off you.
Sure.
And but I'm go back to that felony part because I hear that a lot. But before we did the television program today, I was talking to my brother Craig.
Sure.
And my brother Craig, you know, I can speak on him because he said he's going to do a segment with us because he's a wealth of motivation for guys that have had a felony. You know, a guy that was locked up 14 years of his life, but now out being a prosperous dad, you know, and a prosperous man and an uplift. you know, and he can be a role model for felons because of the fact that he worked 2-3 jobs.
And rehabilitation does work.
Oh yeah, but you have to be ready for yourself. See, a lot of times we wait on other people to do stuff before us. You got to learn that, hey, look, it's me, oh Lord, standing under the prayer, not everybody else. It's about me. Because when you get better, then you make your family better, your situation better, which ultimately makes community better. And so I mean, I feel for my brothers with felonies,
sure,
you know, but you got to learn that, hey, look, that was me then, but that don't have to be me in the future. That don't have to be now. That don't have to be me now. That don't have to be my 2012, you know, New Year's resolution.
And speaking of felon, let's just kind of open that up more broad, just the action steps of securing your thinking to reverse your fortune. What we often say to each other and kind of to those around us is that each one teach one. And just by being generous and how you become more positive and more things come to you just by your generosity and taking that first step to be proactive and help another person, or to open a door for a person, or to just say, good morning, how are you?
Right. You know, and saying that, you know, and Stacey mentioned earlier about Dante Lotz in the radio program, and I thank Dante Lotz, you know, just a great young man that came along in my life, and he's used his talents out front of the home to make
church program,
do our flower garden and things of that nature that he's done out front. And he called me the other day, and me and him talked before, because I told him if you got any young men that need a haircut and you can't afford it, you know, that don't feel free to give me a call, because I mean, my duty first is serving to this community. It ain't about money or any of that stuff. It's serving to the community. And if a guy needs a haircut or something of that nature, let's get it taken care of so we can empower somebody else, because I want to empower somebody else, because if I give and sow a seed into them, then they can sow a seed back. So he wanted me to read this letter, and I'm going to read this letter from this young man. And a lot of times people say, well, Sean, you know, what do you do? What kind of youth do you know? Do you do anything with the youth? And I do a lot. A lot of times I do it quietly.
Very invisible, but very effective.
But sometimes you got to let people know what you're doing.
Sure.
You know, or they won't know. But the young man said, he said, dear Sean, I'm really thankful for the haircut. I appreciate you being patient with me, because I didn't really know what I wanted. I also appreciate the decision you older African-American men had. I really never thought about making a change in the hood. To hear you guys talk about making a change and being successful was inspiring. So again, thank you for the haircut. And then he wrote sincerely in his name, you know, and that letter right there moved me, because of the fact that, first of all, the Lord being allowed me through haircuts to be able to tap into young people, and for him to be able to come into an environment, that barbershop environment, and see brothers dialoguing back and forth about how we can be better,
sure,
how we all can be better, not just me be better, but how I could tap into this young man, or I could tap into an older brother, and then now we all building up each other. And it's all gonna start with us. You know, we can complain and say, hey, look, we need a better chief, we need a better mayor, we need a better this, a better that. But until you can feel it and tap into it for yourself and see it for yourself, it makes no difference who the leader is, because you are the leader in your life. And so, yeah, you're the leader in your life. And when you do not allow yourself to bring the best out in you, then sometimes you bring out the worst out in everybody else, because everybody else gets frustrated with you because you ain't ready to say, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
Amen.
And so now we're making a brother or a sister mad, a mom or a dad mad. You know, and I always tell young people, whatever you do, make people proud. I always want my mom to be proud. I want my community to be proud. You know, and I want our, you know, so we put a lot of work into what we do to try to make somebody else feel proud about it, because I want good things to be said. Now, don't worry about it, because everybody ain't gonna be your friend. Everybody else say good things about you. We do have a thing called haters out here, and everybody get them.
Shake them. You gotta shake them.
It's called the devil. The devil out here to kill, steal, and destroy. But Nevertheless, keep your eye on the prize. Have tunnel vision. Have it really focused. Focus right in on what the streets align with goal, and whatever that goal to you is. Stay focused. Don't let nobody rock your boat.
And what choice words there, very well taken there, Brother Williams. You mentioned the vision and the clarity, the vision that Apostle John had of heaven being clear, see-through glass. Let's kind of elaborate on that vision and kind of pinpoint vision more specifically as how do you invest your time, and how the way you're investing in your time and your time on your job, your time in your life, it's all your time. Let's talk about how the just that simple choice of how you invest your free time as an example, and how that can help you reap what you want.
You know, Stacey, you talk about it a lot about investing time and using your time wisely. And one of the things that I've always seen, and I know with the barbershop, and I listen to a lot of the guys, and maybe I'm on my computer doing some things, researching, doing some other things. They're in there arguing about the NFL and the NBA, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant, and who's the best, And so what happens is that the blindness of that to me is that you know more about Kobe Bryant. You know more about LeBron James.
We can't leave out PS3 or Madden or...
You're a grown man going to Toys R Us, getting a game for yourself. You know what I'm saying? What I look like shopping at Toys R Us for myself. So that's the blindness. That's not using your time wisely. That's not going to be productive for your family. That ain't going, at the end of the day, unless you're going to go to Vegas and get in some tournament.
You can make some money of being a gamer.
Now you
better step your game up, though.
It's almost like that window for you to get into the NBA. It's such a small minute of people that can make it there. But in order for you to, but that don't mean that you can't be a good truck driver.
Yes, sir.
That don't mean that you can't be a good carpenter
or a forklift operator or a heavy construction equipment operator.
But if you never reach out and try to go find out, hey, look, let me see if I can drive a forklift. Let me see if I can get the proper training.
Or cut hair,
cut hair. Yeah, cutting hair. We just did a 92-year-old lady, Mother Stacey.
Miss Duffy as well.
Yeah, mother. They were friends, best friends. She was a cosmetologist for 60 years. Started a shop way back in the day. One of the first beauty shops around here in the area.
The Gonza.
Yeah, and I mean, and just that story. Her son telling us that story was such a touching and moving story when his mom passed away, and I saw myself all through that story. From doing people that meant a whole lot, that were probably monetarily well off, and then from doing those people to people that
despots of the day.
That maybe didn't have anything, but she treated everybody with respect and some dignity. It made them feel good about
themselves. How much does that cost?
That's free. That's free.
I like that word.
We look for a lot of things like PlayStation 3s to try to enlighten us and make us feel good about ourselves. And we just come off of Christmas season. And a lot of busy Christmas season, and people were out shopping and buying gifts and trying to buy somebody's love. And make them feel good about themselves. But the things that we overlook be the free things. Just saying, hey, how you doing? I love you today. You're doing a great job, and giving that encouragement so that now, because by you being an inspiration to others, then that really elevates you to another level, and so, and being that you just have a lot of times, if we just sit back and just, like a lot of times when you're going through something, be able to praise your way even through going through something. I was listening to Pastor one day, and he was saying, the best way to try to get out of something is thanking God right where you're at. Being thankful for right where you're at. A lot of times coming off that Christmas season, we make people feel bad because we can't get the new Jordans. And so you let your kid make you feel bad because you can't afford the new Jordans. But at the same time, he or she might not even deserve the new Jordans because he or she ain't even doing what they're supposed to be doing in school.
And don't know how to earn the money to get the Jordans.
Exactly. They're not taking the garbage out. They're not doing any house chores if they're not getting any money. Take that thing.
Or maybe good grades.
Good grades, or just just growing up to be a great young person. You know, in order to be a great older person, you got to start out kind of trying to be a great young person.
Yeah.
You know, but even if you do not start in that situation, damage but not done.
I love that.
Damage but not done.
Pastor DeVita, Bernard.
You change it up, flip it up.
Pastor Givney.
Pastor Givney, that
damage but not done.
Damage but not done. That stuck with us. That stuck with us from that service. That stuck with us.
Let's go into another action step. We won't belabor that point. We want to keep it moving for you folks. Let's talk about testimony. Let's talk about everybody's got a story, and by recognizing your story and even making that action step to say your story verbally or commit that to another person or to a group of people, how that can effectually make you want to achieve more and kind of make, as you would say, make your audio match your video. Let's talk about just testimony and how important that is to effectuating change.
You know what, Stacey, you mentioned a very, very heartfelt spot in my heart when you mentioned testimony service, because I remember some of the older saints over at AOH, and they couldn't wait for testimony service to tell the goodness of the Lord, to tell the goodness of their week, you know, to share with somebody else, to be an inspiration to other folks. You know, and that testimony, we got away from testimony service, you know, a lot because we felt as though somebody was being boisterous or bragging about their situation. But through their testimonies, they're able to inspire other people to say, hey, look, I'm damaged, but I'm not done. I can do it too. So through testimonies, through your testimonies, and I love testimonies, you know, because I want to hear your experience. You know, a lot of times we say that you got to go through it yourself. Well, I really don't have to go through it myself. If you done went through that same road, you might be able to tell me, you know, what I could do to maneuver some of the pitfalls.
Oh, that's a learning curve.
Yeah. And you might go through it, and I might have to go through it. And then I tell that on to somebody else, so they don't make the pitfalls and the mistakes. And they
Teach one, teach one.
And they can get to the streets line will go, they get to their goal a little faster. A little bit faster. Because nowadays we're in a microwave era. You know, everybody needed it yesterday. You know, we don't want to put the work into it. You know, I always put my own work into it because you know I don't have a whole lot of education. You know, but they taught me something in the Army called on the job training.
Yes, sir. OJT,
on the job training, and so you can still get there. And what happened is that the guys that had on the job training, most of the time they knew how to do the job better than the guy that went to college, because the guy from college learned from a book. Well, we've been doing this here. We've been on the job. We've been in the mood.
On the line.
We've been right there on the front. So I love that. And you know, so that testimony is very important.
Sure. And you know, and back to that investment. And let's talk about even, okay, we all have jobs, unfortunately. But how about just how to own your own job and how to bring those principles of ownership even to your own career and profession, so that ultimately you can maybe grow out of that situation into a more desirable situation. Just ownership.
You know, Stacey, you know, I don't knock people with jobs, because I mean, the job is where, you know, you got to start. You got to start with a job, and so be thankful for your job, especially in a time where people losing their job.
Yes, sir.
You know, and in order for you to be the total respect on the job, when you become the boss, you have to appreciate your boss, make them look good, so that when you get to be the boss,
when nobody's watching, right?
Yeah, make them look good. So when you become the boss, people will respect you.
Right.
But you can't look for people to respect you when you don't respect people. So what I would say is that, you know, as far as the ownership piece, you know, ownership is the best. Always trying to have your own. Because I grew up, my mom always used to say, God bless a child that got his own. So, you know, always try to have your own so that you don't become a beggar. You're supposed to be a lender, not a borrower. So, you know, you always want to be able to have something to be able to share with others.
Sure.
So
a give and take.
Yeah. So it is a give and take. It is a give and take, and so I love those older people and those older sayings, and those things stuck with me for a long. You know, it was like eating your grits.
Like write it down, make it plain.
Write it down and make it plain. You know, without vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
So if you don't have too much vision, you might self-destruct. you might wreck. And if you the dad leading the family, you don't want your whole family to wreck.
Or the mother.
Or if you the mother,
that.
yeah, if you're the mother, you in charge of your family. You don't want your family to wreck. You want your family to be a success. You want people to go now talk about your kids at the school and say, you know what, man, she must really be working with her kids, because these are the most respectable kids I've seen in a long time.
And how much does that cost?
It doesn't cost a lot. It just costs time. Time to spending time with your kids.
That investment.
That investment. Yeah. And so you know, and I respect that a lot, you know, because of the fact that through my midnight experience that I told you, I missed a lot of time with my kids. And that's heartfelt. That's coming straight from the heart, breast to breast to you guys out there. You know, I was unfortunate because my kids were 2,000 miles away. You know, I've known guys that I've seen across the street that was at the barbershop, and they duck it, saying, there go my kids. Yeah. Running from their kids. You know, and then when they end up getting in trouble, then you are embarrassed about what you created. You know what I'm saying? And that right there bothered me. Because now we gotta have a Dante Lots or Shelton to come in and step in and be that surrogate dad or mom for these kids out here. You know, and I've always been working with kids because my thing was I wasn't able to be around my kids. So I asked the Lord to say, hey, God, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna invest my time with other people's kids. So that way that you can surround somebody around my kids. So, but it worked out great.
It takes a village.
It takes a village. Even 2,000 miles away, it took a village. It took that village 2,000 miles away to invest in my kids. And my kids turned out to be great kids.
Great testimony there, brother.
Great kids, you know. And that's my testimony for that.
Yes, sir.
For our audience out there.
Yeah. Be sure to check us out at WilliamsMemorialServices.com, the YouTube channel, SnotRocketScience.com, and we'll be continuing here momentarily. We're back. We talked momentarily on break, and my boss here, he loves the subject of hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and that hit us just right between the eyes, and so we want to elaborate a little bit further on that.
You know, I do. I love hurts. I love the saying hurts, habits, and hang-ups because that embraces all of us. You know, we all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and we're all damaged but not done, you know. But you got to deal with it. You got to deal with the hurts that you have, and hurts can come in all different shapes, forms, and sizes, you know. And it's kind of up to you how long you want to deal with your hurt, you know. But a lot of times in dealing with hurt, when it's dealing with related to people, you know, you might have to be the bigger person and say, hey, look, it's my fault. You know, it's my fault. You know, I'm sorry about what we went through 10 years ago. Because a lot of times we'll be mad at somebody for 10, 15, 20 years.
And forget what we're mad about.
And don't even remember how it even kicked off. You know, and then, you know, and a lot of times our habits, you know, changing what we do. You know, changing is what you do.
Just one thing at a time, like the lady at the VA said, we're not asking our veterans to, if they drink a 12-pack, to go cold turkey and not drink any beer. Right. But if you drink 12 beers, maybe try 11 a day.
Yes, that's exactly what she said. Let's try 11. Let's try to get that thing down. Maybe you drink a 6-pack. Right. You work your way down to a 6-pack, you know. And it takes a little bit of time because a lot of times we didn't start this thing overnight. So don't think salvation will come overnight. Because you've been doing the same thing for 20, 30 years. Don't think just because you walk into one church service that everything gonna be over with. Right. Because as you start doing good, the devil gonna start even working on you even harder to get you back into that same rut, that same place, or even into a worse place, so you don't never try to see the streets lining with gold or Jesus being in the midst. You know, so he's gonna work even harder. But you just keep on celebrating. You keep on celebrating the small successes that you have in your life. You know, they gotta be big successes. They don't have to be major milestones. But just one little thing at a time. I told a friend one day, I said, this is what you do. I said, do 2 things every day working towards your goal. 2 things. So just do 2 things positively going towards your goal. And then I guarantee you, watch how God change things for you.
That's 730 things in a year. That's a whole lot of
things. Look how fast he had.
That's a whole lot of things there. by the end of the year, you could probably do some monumental change.
Okay.
And then too, as far as we often talk, which we talk all the time, but let's share with our folks out there just what we consider insanity and how some of us, even myself at times, you do the same thing and expect a different result, and that's insanity. Let's just talk about how if we really want to change something, we've got to secure our thinking to reverse our fortune.
You know, I used to be a rapper that had a song said "Insane in the Midbrain."
Yeah.
Insane in the midbrain, knowing that your mind is messed up. You know, you study doing repeated mess. You know, regurgitating the same mess, knowing it was a messy situation last time you dealt with it, and it still ain't been cured.
So why would that change?
It's not gonna change.
It just get worse, right?
They call us sometimes folks that say stepping back in your mess. You step back, and I think we all done it once or twice. Sure. We've all done it once or twice. You know, I can raise my hand on it too, because I did it for certain different reasons. And we'll always come up with some reason why we gotta go back and do it where they changed it. Sure. Or you know, I'm thinking that it's gonna be something different, or we always seem to tailor it up some kind of way to fix it up to come up with an excuse for
what is that, a broken record? Is that what that is?
A broken record. Yeah, that's probably what it is, you know. But at the end of the day, that end up create hurt sacks and hang-ups.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so, in trying to accomplish our goal and to get to where, you know, you guys might want to be, you know, I don't know what your heart desires out there, you know. And one of the questions that came up to me this week, are dreams achievable?
Sure.
You know, is it a such thing called dreams?
Dreams do come true.
And do dreams come true? You know, and I know a lot of people that went through so many failures, in life, and you don't know anybody that's really have conquered a dream or that has been successful. You know, or you know, a lot of times now within our communities, the way we're so divided up now, and we're chasing our tail, you know, or you know, just steady going out trying to, you know, move to other communities and things of that nature.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Trying to keep up with the Joneses because we don't build up our own community.
Sure.
And so a lot of our young people can't see a lot of successful doctors and lawyers and stuff in their neighborhoods.
You kind of hit me with a good one there as far as your heart. And I was over visiting at Stone Creek here last month and at year end, and what Pastor Grogan over there says, which I really respect and admire his message. You must guard your heart because your heart is where your riches are. Let's just talk about a little bit about guarding your heart and how to not always step out in front of that car and get run over, but maybe how to sideswipe it once in a while and keep yourself in the game. Let's talk about just guarding your heart and how to get rid of those hurts, habits, and hang-ups and kind of turn the corner, if you will.
You know, one thing, you know, that I'm a stickler to, and I've been talking to you about it recently, is that understanding that it's a war going on. It's
a war for our salvation.
It's a war for our salvation. It's a war for good versus evil. You know, bad against good, and so you got to understand that. You know, and when you're doing things that's not going to be productive, understand there's repercussions behind that, and it's not going to be successful to what your ultimate goal is, or where you're trying to reach, or what you're trying to achieve. So when you tell me guard my heart, now you got to realize that.
Did I stump you on that one?
Kind of stump you. No, I didn't really stump me, but I want to make sure that everybody can understand.
Guard your heart.
Guard your heart, you know, because people. I'm a spiritual type person, you know what I'm saying?
Did that hit you?
Yeah, I'm a spiritual type person, and I connect with spirits, you know, and a lot of times people just come with the wrong spirit, a negative spirits, and when you're trying to go north 57 to Chicago, and they might be trying to go
Effingham,
and south 57 to Effingham, but then you done teamed up with them. They trying to get to Memphis.
You might not get out of Champaign.
You're going to get out of Champaign somewhere, but you're going to be lost. You're going to have to put your relocator on
the
GPS to find your way, you know, because we get through off course. So, and one of the things I recently heard that through a sermon is that, you know, not everybody that's calling your name want to like you. Some people calling your name, they're there just to be a distraction.
Spit on you.
Yeah, they're there just to mess you up, derail you, you know, and that's just how it goes. So a lot of times we find ourselves by ourselves sometimes, and ain't nothing wrong with being by yourself.
Called lonely at the top.
Yeah, it ain't nothing wrong with being by yourself, because not everybody wants the same things out of life. It's okay if you just if you want to live a subtle life. You know, I remember back in the day, you know, we would look at Little House on the Prairie or some stories like that, and you know, and so they always had a picture or an illustration of a white picket fence.
And a 2.5-story house.
Yeah, white picket fence, a 2.5-story house, 2-car garage, you know, a son and a daughter, and
the dog. Can't forget about that dog.
And everybody had a dog. You know, it was either small, you know, very vicious, or big and very loving. Right. You know, and so that was the goal back then. You know, now we're living in a society where so many distractions and dysfunctionality is the thing to do.
Kind of a miseducation. It's like everything's on its face a little bit.
You know, I mean, you want to be Atlanta Housewives, you know, you want to regurgitate what you're seeing on television.
Right.
You know,
and that's just a production.
You know, one of the biggest tricks of the devil to me is, you know, in trying to achieve where you're trying to go to, you know, is the skinny jean thing. You know, I mean, young men.
I can't stand you talking about those skinny jeans.
I can't stand no man that got a pair of pants on it that can't put a hammer in it.
My daddy said, if you can't put a wallet in it, don't put them on.
How in the world? And then don't put the skinny jeans on. I'm not even going too deep on that, but try to get up out of that. That's not the grown man stuff, and that's not what our parents taught us, and their parents taught them. Because everybody should be able to put a tape measure, put a wallet, put a hammer, a hand knife, or something in your pocket. You know, so that you are readily prepared at all times to go to work.
Sure.
That you can help somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's get on playing. Let's go with playing as another action step. And you know, it's often that we don't really plan to fail. It's that we really fail to plan, and then we'll dovetail off on how the devil is in the details, and how to seek those riches in heaven, or whether on earth or in heaven. How we've got to have a plan and a vision on how to actuate that plan. Let's talk about a plan.
You know, and talking about that plan and writing that vision down and making it plain and
simple.
And yeah, you know, it don't have to be real detailed. You know, I mean, if you want to become let's say whatever, if you want to become,
let's just say a heavy equipment operator.
A heavy equipment operator.
Doesn't it start with taking that first step and going to that local union office?
Going to that local, I would even say before then, Google what a heavy equipment operator do.
I think that's local 601.
Yeah, Google it and see what it entails. You know, I mean, maybe go talk to someone. I mean, I had a young man come by yesterday. He wanted to be an auto mechanic.
Parkland's got a great.
And I told him to go out and talk to DJ. Yeah. Great mechanic. You know, DJ is a great mechanic and very well, you know, thorough and detailed when you're working on your vehicle. And very detailed. And so go talk to him about, you know, what inspired him to become an auto mechanic, and how he was able to get great success and great return from his clientele.
And how he started at his job of more than 25 years at Ward Martin, just starting out with ownership values and owning what he did every day. Regardless if Weber paid his check or who paid his check, he always had that dream, that vision, and that work ethic, and own what he did. And I know that because you just really respect him and look up to him and talk about him a lot.
Yeah, I really respect.
But he owned his job for more than 20 years.
You know, and you know, he you know, real hard working man. You know, and so I really respect him, man. And he has a real good heart. You know, he's not gonna try to hit you over the head or anything like that. And he'll tell you things about your car that you never could imagine.
Yeah.
You know, and so I really like this. So when we go back to heavy equipment operator, or going back to your plan, you know, maybe finding out whatever it is you're trying to do, Google it, try to find out, do some research on it, and then start doing those 2 things every day.
Yeah.
Start doing those 2 things toward that goal, trying to make that thing happen. You know, I do believe dreams are achievable.
But you got to see them first, right? And commit to them. Write them down, make it plain and simple.
And sometimes it starts evolving as you get in there and start doing that on-the-job training. You know, as you start getting into it, making those action steps.
Take one step, get two more.
Get two more, and then that dream starts to come in fruition. You know, you start seeing it, and you talk about it. You know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. You know, if you talk that thing into existence. I remember I used to tell guys that came into my small spot as a barbershop, I'm getting me a barbershop one day. I'm getting me a barbershop one day. And you know, you got your naysayers, oh man, he ain't gonna get no barbershop, you know. I mean, thank the Lord, we've been going for almost 14 years now. And been cutting for about, you know, almost
You guys
20.
are doing a great job over there, OD, Marshawn, Dana. Probably left somebody out, can't leave you out. Chris, your son, he's coming on. But just more than you guys being professional, and that's a vocation right there. That you have to go to a barber college or a cosmetology school and actually put that plan, commit, say it, and do it. And go to class, take a state test in Springfield, and that's really to be commended over there. Because in the North End, I mean, you guys are a pillar.
Yeah. And I mean, and we don't just take it for granted.
And you offer salvation to a lot of people that may be not ready to take that step to go to church, or feel that they'll be burdened or looked down upon. And I see where you guys over there offer a lot of salvation for folks that really don't almost have a branch to grab onto.
You know, Stacey, one of the most moving things that we did, that we added to the barbershop atmosphere, was that prayer at the end of the evening.
Oh, I love that.
And I remember a guy that came back from being incarcerated, and he seen what we were doing at the end of the night, and he wanted to stay away from people. He wanted to disassemble himself from anybody, because he didn't want to go back to jail.
I don't blame him.
And so what he would do, he would sit at home all day, but about closing time every evening, he'd say, "Hey Sean, have you guys did the prayer yet?" And when we do our prayer over there, we always pray, keep us away from the haters, the snitches, and the police, because all of those elements were things that affect our young African American men in the community. And I knew that those were some of the elements that affect these young men, but it empowers these young men to say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna try to make better decisions.
Right.
I'm trying to be a better person," you know. And so in saying all of that, you know, I think that we can do it in 2012.
Get well in 2012.
I think we can get well in 2012. I think we can do better, you know. And like I started out, as a man thinketh, so is he. You know, and so as you think that you can start achieving your dreams, you can start, you know, grasping onto your New Year's resolutions and things of that nature, you know, making somebody proud, but putting those action steps together, you know, because the streets are lined with gold. We see it every day.
But we see where you can't do it by yourself, and no man being an island, you know, you've built and forged some great relationships, not only in the funeral business, but also obviously at the Whip, and also when you own the Whip Cafe, which is adjacent to that building over there. Let's talk about just all the relationships, and you're just awesome at building relationships, and how important that is to actually, you know, seeing your streets change and become more clear, and you be more in control, and you hit those switches. Let's talk about how people around you can really help you get to where you want to be as well.
You know, Stacey, from going to Love Corner Church of the Living God under the tutelage of Bishop Lloyd E. Quinn, you know, one of the things I learned in the 18 years of attending his services and being a member down there is that attitude determines altitude. And in order to make a friend, you got to first show yourself friendly. You know, nobody wants to be around somebody with a jacked up attitude every day. You know, so when you go up to people and you speak to people, and they see you continuously, and they see your attitude and your happiness, you know, and even when things ain't going right, you still being happy, and you're still being motivated enough, cordial, to keep it moving. You know, you're not spitting venomous stuff out to people, and you're being respectful. You know, and that helped me develop a lot of relationships that I've developed, you know, all the way from different bankers or dealing with the city, with community. Because when I'm dealing with community, the community is just what it says for me. It's community, it's we. It ain't about I, it's about us.
There's no I in team or we, is there?
No. And I thank the Lord for a military experience, because it taught me, you know, we didn't have to have no child left behind to show me that. You know, we weren't leaving no soldier behind. It was one for all and all for one. And that's the thing I look at when it's community. If Steve Carter looked bad, then we all look bad. If our police department look bad in our community, we all share some of that responsibility. You know, and we always like to single it out, you know, point the finger to the other direction. But if we make a national newspaper, then it's the city of Champaign making that national newspaper. And if you're a resident of the city of Champaign, then we all look bad to our family and friends in other places. Right. So we should all want to see the city of Champaign do well, you know. And we all, and you got to remember, everybody has hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Everybody. The devil don't exclude himself from it being a police officer.
The devil doesn't discriminate, does
No. It can get in each one of us.
All got
to a community member.
Yeah.
You know,
we've all got to do our job.
And my brother Hub always say, but keep your motives pure.
Sure.
You know, when your motives pure, then people can accept you as a friend, and we can learn to agree to disagree, and still be friends at the end of the day.
Have that mutual respect.
Yeah, you have mutual respect for each other. But when your motives ain't pure, when you using your power for more than what it really should be used for, you're not keeping your motives pure. You know, I mean, and we got it's taking that to get back to that village. It take a village, and we all got our own separate roles in this village to make Champaign be successful. So in saying that, you know, I thank the Lord for you guys out there and all our listeners that listen to this program and watch this program, you know, on Sunday nights and Thursdays.
And we follow Canaan over there.
Yeah.
And we're really blessed to have that pastor.
Pastor Tatum. Yeah, Pastor Tatum, great pastor. We did a mother service over there with Pastor Tatum.
What a fellow.
Yeah, you know, we just came off a service with Pastor Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, over to Bethel. Over to Bethel and the Bethel family.
Fine person.
Great.
Larry.
Yeah. And so we had a great conversation, me and him, and I think that, you know, in 2012 I see more of our pastors coming out and getting input and want to do more work and bring that more unity to the community, and so I just see us growing as a community. I see a lot of different things going on for this future of our 2012. So, you know, I just encourage you, every time you see something going on, you see a Martin Luther King Day celebration, you see something happening, get involved, come on out, support, you know, and that's very critical.
You be proactive. Isn't that an action step? You won't seek your dreams or realize your dreams without taking that step. Just take that step. Proactivity.
Yeah, you gotta take.
Not negativity, proactivity.
Yeah, you gotta take that step. You know, a lot of times.
That first step.
A lot of times we're waiting for the pie to drop out the sky. We're waiting on the lottery. We're waiting on the lottery to hit.
If you want to build that building, just put that shovel in the dirt, right? Just go put that shovel in the dirt.
Put the shovel in the dirt. Yeah, that's what's up. I really respect that when I start to see things moving forward.
And see who's moving forward and why they're moving forward. It's, you know, it's not luck.
Right.
The harder you work, the luckier you get, right?
Yeah, and I get inspired when I go to some of my subcommittee meetings and we talk about plans for the city of Champaign and how we're going to be able to inspire other families to grow and build up, you know, nicer buildings or build up homes for families and things of that nature. So, you know, it's a real inspiration for me, and I find it being great as a servant, you know, and honorable, you know, as a servant, you know, to serve the city residents of Champaign, sure, to be able to make our hometown.
That's a big badge.
Yeah,
that's a big badge. Not only a lot of people don't understand self-employment or owning your own business just means you put in more hours than everybody else, and instead of one boss, you got 100 bosses.
Yeah.
But I love your energy and your positivity, and I'm really proud of you and what you've done and inspired people just from the lowest despots, as people sometimes looked upon, to the highest, whether it be the mayor or state senator, etc. Just the level of fairness, just being fair and open-minded.
You know, and that being said, you know, I thank the Lord for the families that we serve over here at Williams Memorial Services, because whether you had no money or you had a lot of money, we all wanted we pretty much try to treat everybody fair and with a lot of respect and dignity, and I love the families that we serve, and I thank you for choosing Williams Memorial Services. You know, for us
and the Williams Insurance Agency, which is fastly growing.
Yeah, you know, to be able to serve families, and I love serving families. I mean, you know, because I mean, everybody's not designed to do everything,
right?
But we all got a special niche in something.
That's the team.
Yeah, and
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, that's that team. You know, we all got a niche into something. So finding out where your niche is.
Yeah, and not only the funeral home, but more specifically your insurance agency. It's kind of like, you know, when we did our, you know, numerous research as far as, you know, what the community needs, and us being self-employed and entrepreneurial, you know, and when you're out there and you're saying, okay, how can I get these streets to be clear and visible? Circle a problem. Make an incorporation out of a problem, which we saw a problem with the underrepresentation and uninsured population around us, hence your insurance agency. So in everybody's life we see problems. We may have a better, more innovative way to address that. Make a patent out of that. How about that?
You know, Stacey, one thing that we've done is go block by block.
Door by door.
Door by door. And that's how you change things. You go block by block, door by door. You talk to families. You reassess these families and find out what's going on in the home. You know, who's in the home. You know, what is the problem? Where can I be some assistance to you at? Because, and I've always I joke with some of the guys sometimes, and I say, a leader with no hookups ain't a leader at all. So
or just on a walk. A leader with no followers is just on a walk.
I
love King Bishop. He's a great fellow.
Yeah, King Bishop.
He's really helped me out in my journey.
He said a leader that's leading and ain't got nobody follows. All he doing is just taking them.
I love that. I always love being here with you guys and UPTV, Lori, Terry, Sean. Don't forget to hear him on WEFT 90.1 on Sunday, 6 to 10. Mother Hattie, Pastor DeVita, Sean, David Allen, and you know, just keep up the good work.
And I thank you guys for tuning in to us, and stay tuned in to us on Sunday evenings and also on Thursdays
too.
And I thank you, PATV, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.